All right, we are back. I am back. This is a special stream. We have got the great Todd, what is it? The autistic hermit? I don't know what to call you anymore, Todd. What are we going to call you now? What's the new label?
Uh, I don't even know anymore. I've changed my name so many times. Grotesque Subhuman, Todd Thundercock, Todd the Autistic Hermit, whatever you want to call me. I don't care.
My favorite was Grotesque Subhuman because that one was so far over the top.
I guess I'll start with that. That's a great starting. Todd, what do you think about that's kind of over, that's hyperbolic? Do you really believe you're grotesque? You're subhuman?
I mean, I definitely used to believe that. I don't anymore. I mean, obviously, I'm not an attractive man. I think I'm objectively like 4 out of 10 or so. But I definitely felt that way, especially when I was like, a 38-year-old virgin. That was rough. I don't so much anymore, but I know those feelings, and I still have like massive insecurity about my looks and such. So, yeah.
Todd, I wanted to ask you, since we're here and we're just getting started, just real quick, briefly, do you have an opinion of the Thomas White YouTube channel? I'm just curious, give the listeners your kind of opinion of my YouTube channel and what your thoughts are on it, if you have any.
I don't know. I mean, I've listened to like quite a few of your streams. I like a lot of your discussions. I mean, sometimes I just it's not really my cup of tea. Like I don't really care about the political shit or like all the racist talk. I'm just kind of whatever on all that. But I mean, I like a lot of the interviews you had with the one with Depressed and Wanted Man. Like I really enjoyed that one. So. Yeah, I like your channel. I think you're doing well. I mean, I did have like some suspicion before. Like I know I had an interview planned with you before, and then I kind of got spooked because of your dealings with First. I mean, I kind of have some issues with him, but yeah, I like your channel overall though.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I really like your channel, and it makes me sad that you haven't been uploading lately. And I understand you want to maybe pull back, you get kind of burnt out, or you maybe put too much on the internet, you want to just take a break and just kind of be a hermit. I totally understand that, but Todd, people kind of need people, and I think people kind of depend on you. And you ever hear about the kind of the phrase pay it forward? Maybe that this is maybe part of your niche in life, that you're here to help lonely men figure out life a little bit.
I mean, I guess so. I've had people tell me that. Like, I can't see myself as like, someone to look up to. I mean, I'm an utter failure by like any measure. I mean, I had a career. Like, I had a job. I threw it all away. Like, I've never had a woman in my life. I'm gonna die single and alone. Like, this isn't anything anyone should aspire to. Like. I'm a scumbag like who relies on the government for money. Like, I mean, you shouldn't really listen to me. Like, I still just view myself as just a guy who just, I made a channel to rant and like let off steam and foolishly hope I could find a woman this way. And that's still the only way I've ever seen it. It's kind of hard for me to think I'm like some kind of role model or something.
Sometimes that's all it takes, though. Hearing what other people are thinking when somebody else is saying them lets them know that they're not alone, man. So it's easy, at least from the outside looking in, it's easy to see how people would look up to you. I do, and I did. It's a lot of guys do not have the testicular fortitude to admit their own predicament. It's admirable to not live in a delusion.
Yeah.
Todd, why do you think that people like you and your channel and kind of what you're doing? Why do you think people watch?
Well, I think the main reason is I still think like most people just watch to basically laugh at me and to they think their lives are better than mine, and they find like humor in that. I mean, and that's commonplace all over the internet now. I mean, You look at so many of these like lol cows and such. I think it's the main reason people watch. I do think there's guys who are lonely and they can relate to me to some level, and I'm one of the few guys that is willing to be honest about these things because men today in society, like, you can't show any vulnerability at all. If you do, people just shit on you. As a man, you got to be tough. You got to like pretend you get all the women, and you got to do all that shit. And if you don't, like I say, you just get crapped on. So.
Todd, that's why your channel is the big dog. Like, you are the big dog in the black pill space, the manosphere. You're one of the best, in my opinion. I don't give a fuck about some bullshit you might have said or didn't say on the internet. People want to tear you down or make fun of you or laugh at you. You know why I think you're a great YouTuber is because of this bullshit facade that like an Undead Chronic puts on, or some of these other like wignats I've seen on the internet. You are the real deal. You're a real human being. And I think that's the appeal, bud. Like, you're not a fake person. And that's why it's so cool. It's so refreshing to see a guy in his 40s tell it like it is and not be a fucking bullshitter about it.
Yeah. And that's what I try to find myself on YouTube. And, it's hard to find, so I get it in that regard. Yeah.
Western Decline, do you want to jump in? Do you have any specific questions? Do you have anything to add or say? Otherwise, we can move on.
I was just going to comment on, like, the idea that you are exceptionally hideous or something. I was left with that impression myself just through my experiences with women. But I hear from a lot of guys like you or other people that share their feelings about this, and like, I wouldn't give you a second glance if I walk past you on the street. I wouldn't, turn and go, whoa, look at this guy. Whoa, what a hideous subhuman or whatever, right? But like, anything short of perfection with women nowadays seems to leave a guy feeling that way. So I would just say, don't like beat yourself up over it, because I nor anybody else that isn't, walking around with ovaries trying to use them is left with that impression. And the vast majority of men give women that same ick for some reason. So that's my main thing. And the idea that you're a scumbag for living off of government money, dude, I've shared my opinions on this. If Uncle Sam can operate at a $30 trillion deficit or whatever, eking a living off of him doesn't matter. You got guys in Congress spending $500,000 on OnlyFans accounts, okay, of tax money. You shouldn't be embarrassed of living off of it at all.
It really kind of bothers me, Todd. I'm not sure if you want to talk about your family, but if people are fucking mad at you or want to hold a grudge against you because you collect a quote government check, like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if they're fucking gonna be like bitter, some of your older relatives or a cousin doesn't like you because you get a government check, that's bullshit, and that's fucking wrong. That's your family. Fuck that.
Yeah, and I have had a few family members, basically disown me and call me the black sheep because I'm not willing to work, anymore. And even before that, like I had one who, like, just because I wasn't married, which supposedly is like my fault because I'm turning down all these women or something. Like, they've done that to me too. So it's like, yeah, it sucks. I mean, I personally don't have any issues like collecting government money. Like, I'm happy I don't have to pay taxes anymore and support, this broken system. Like,
why the fuck? I don't give a Todd, why the fuck should you vote for the Republican Party? Give me that answer. Why? What the fuck for? Why should any white working class folks living in the Midwest or in some of these shit towns, dead towns, vote Republican for what?
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to the politics in the U.S., I mean, like, they're all working for the Jews. They're all on the same team. It really doesn't matter. I only will vote Democrat locally because that gives me more money. That's the only thing I care about. Like, so, yeah, I don't really care about that. When it comes to looks, just on Western Decline said, like, I agree with him completely. I mean, today, basically, unless you're like a 7 out of 10 guy, if you're lower than that, like, you're gonna have a hard time with women. So
wait a minute, Todd. I want to push back, Todd. Yeah. Todd, I want to push back on that. Like, I would rather be a 4 than a 7 nowadays almost. Like just I'd rather be invisible than being fucking taken for a ride. And that's what 7s are getting doing. I mean, if you're a 7, you're really not, you're still kind of getting second grade puss.
You're not in the power position, that's for sure. So I can kind of see that perspective where like it's is it better to know firmly where you stand, or is it better to live in this kind of gray zone where you're given hope but no chance of actually reaching the oasis?
Yeah, I mean, like back when I was working, I heard so many, normie guys just complaining about their wives and how like they're not getting sex and they barely even talk. That's the common relationship today, and I want nothing to do with it. So I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
I had the same experience with work where I was working with a bunch of guys your age. They were all married and they seemed to love working. They seemed to love every minute they could spend at the business away from their wives, which blew my mind. Like, here I am, depressed because I don't have a relationship, and these guys would rather wage cuck than interact with the one that they have. I don't know. Did they choose wrong, or do they all turn out like that?
No, absolutely. Like my job was like filled like if the guys could take overtime, that they would take it as much as they possible to like working like 80-hour weeks, and they would do it. I was like, I never even understood. Like, man, is your life really that miserable?
Fucking buy a pickup truck, Todd. What do you get besides maybe? Are you really getting upward mobility? You might get a nice pickup truck. Who gives a fuck?
You get to remodel the kitchen again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when I was working like full time, I had more money than I knew what to even do with. It was like if I worked more, I just have like more money in my bank that I'm never going to spend. Like it was stupid. There was no point to any of it.
I want to ask you, Todd, and this is a serious question. You got your kind of life that you've been living this last few years or whatever, cozy life, right? You're playing your video games. Maybe you watch pornography or whatever the hell you want to do. You can hang out and play tennis by yourself and hit a ball against a wall, whatever the fuck you want to do. Go to fucking Tim Hortons and get a cup of coffee. Would you prefer like the life of a Luddite, a horseback Western type old world life, or maybe it's, and I hate to do devil's advocate, but is it really that bad being in your situation versus like some dude riding in a horse out, on the frontier, like trying to fucking survive?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, if you're talking like back in the old days, just trying to survive by any means, I mean, I feel lucky that we have the technology we do. It's just made life very comfortable. I enjoy it. I don't mind that. But I also kind of envy the Amish, their ways, because I mean, I live close to their communities here, and I see the way they live, and it's pretty comfy as well there too. Like they seem a lot more content with their lives, or where they got like their horses, walking up and down the street, and like it's just dead quiet, no electricity, and they're just doing their work.
I remember, Todd.
In a normal person.
Todd, I remember I was out in a rural town riding my Harley. This was like probably 10 years ago. I was on my Harley Davidson, just fucking buzzing around, leaving the gas station. And these fucking Amish people are walking in their little horseback or whatever. And they're kind of looking at me like I'm a fucking alien. And I almost envied their life over mine, even though I had a hot shot motorcycle and I'm wearing leather and I'm like a cool modern, dude in contemporary America. But these people were kind of down to earth. I don't know. Weston Decline, you want to jump in?
I do envy them in a way. It seems the only real fruits of our civilization that most men have come in the form of technological copes. So there's a couple of them I really enjoy, and I'm not sure I'd want to give them up. But there's definitely things that they have that I'm jealous of. When you're focused on surviving, you're not focused on all of the copes that you don't have access to yet, or ever will. So I don't know. I think women that are kind of kept in a bubble like that might be the best that you could ever get. A woman that is not, worldly is probably the closest thing to a trad wife that you're ever going to find. I think you can still lose in that community though, because aren't they like polygamous?
Yeah, from what I've seen, they are, and even there, like the women there are even getting on phones and stuff, so it's hard to avoid.
They caught Sister Salma with a cell phone. She's getting flogged in the middle of the village. Like,
Do you still drive your Dodge Dakota, Todd?
Yeah, 2008 Dodge Dakota. Yeah.
That's amazing that you drive around in a Dodge Dakota. I don't think I've seen a Dodge Dakota in real life in like fucking 10 years, bro. That's so cool, man. Don't get rid of it. Keep that fucker.
Yeah, I will as long as it drives. I think it's probably on its last few years here, but yeah.
I really like the square first gen Dodge Dakotas.
That's what he has,
Cool.
right? Don't you have a square box one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the first gen Dakota, Western Decline.
I like mini trucks, so I'm a big fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys wanted to, I was reading the chat earlier and holy shit, Collective Dismal, you're always bringing the hot takes. Monogamy is soul life denying? Soul life? What is this? What am I saying? What am I reading here? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. The interracial thing is something people really wanted to tackle in the chat earlier. I guess we could kind of get into it. I do have a short reaction video we could do, but did you guys want to touch on this or interracial stuff in the chat, specifically Western Decline? I think you've seen it.
Yeah, let me cover Dismal's point first. I do kind of agree with him in a sense because I think monogamy isn't ideal, but in the world we're in right now, like if you're a guy that's kind of late to the game, you're a late bloomer, your first relationships are with women that have been around and everything. Do you really owe these women monogamy? I don't think you really owe them very much. So at that point, I'd say, practicing polygamy or whatever, cheating on her is almost something you have to do to maintain your own self-respect. So I'm kind of in agreement with that. And on the topic of like interracial stuff, like are they talking about its effect on the dating market if you're a white guy? Like is that what they're wanting to know?
I'm not exactly sure. I got to go back here. I think it's let me check here. Just reading the chat here. I can't even find it now. Jesus Christ.
I think it was the recessed bones guy that was asking about it. Talk about Todd's neighborhood getting changed demographically in the 90s.
I think it's the impact of interracial. Like people want us to discuss the impact of interracialism, kind of interracial mating and pair bonding in America.
I think
I do
if
have
you're a low tier guy of any race, it makes it harder for you.
Yeah. I got a video. It kind of touches on the interracial stuff. We'll react to it. I'm going to present the screen here. Just give me a second, and we'll watch this short 40-second video. There's a quote tweet I want you to read afterwards. Western Incline. Here we go. Let's do it. Just give me a second, guys. Jesus, I hate the internet.
I will literally whoop your. Get out my video. I do not like you.
Go to sleep.
No, you go to sleep. Exactly. Get my video, punk. I will literally whoop your ass.
Oh, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Ouch. Get off me.
Go to sleep. Okay, I.
That's what I thought. Get out my video. I do not like you.
Go to sleep.
All right.
Man accused of shooting his girlfriend in the head in the after 4th of July fireworks in Flower Mound. Uh, Ladarius Morshawn Brownlee. Oh my God, what a name! 28 faces 1 charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 3 counts of deadly conduct. Whatever. And James Kirkpatrick says, up until the moment of the shot, anyone who attempted to stop this at any moment would be universally regarded as ontologically evil by every authority in the society, liberal or conservative. I think he's completely right, and this is why I don't care about this stuff. Fortunately, my sister isn't dragging home pavement apes, but does it really matter if they're vanilla gorillas? It's the same sort of behavior. It makes no difference. So you can't save these women from their mating decisions, and you'll be punished for trying. So all you can really do is learn to laugh at it when it finally comes back to bite them.
Yeah, this is why I don't like when you talk about like racial stuff with dating. Like women like that are just a lost cause. Like if she's willing to do that, like she's just for the streets, and you let her go. And like I don't even like consider her human. Like it's just she's gone. Forget it.
I noticed too with Ladarius Brownlee that like he's even insecure with this sort of thing, right? She's got her phone out, she's streaming. She probably has a bigger audience than he does. And in his mind, how many guys are watching her talk? So he's got to get on screen, he's got to demonstrate that that's his woman, he's got to put his hands all over her, demonstrate that like, he can touch her when she wants. She won't even call the police on him. He's going to jokingly get kind of gropey or whatever. And I don't know. This is what happens on camera. What happens off camera? Apparently, the charges that happened.
I wanted to ask you, Todd, about the differences between a modern woman and prostitution. That not having 2 categories for women anymore. Can you delineate? Is there a difference between an average regular woman and a prostitute?
I don't even really find them comparable. I mean, like, a prostitute or an escort, like she's just a woman, doing her job. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
have you heard about?
I'm sure you're asking there. Yeah.
Have you heard about prostitutes are cleaner than your average woman? Have you heard that talking point?
Oh yeah, and from my experiences, I'd say that's almost certainly true. Yeah.
Logically, it makes sense too.
Yeah, because like if a woman is an escort and that's her life, like she's gonna like they work to keep, at least like reputable ones, like work to keep themselves clean. I don't think the average woman does. Like I think the average woman just doesn't care. She doesn't care if she gets knocked up and has diseases. I mean, she'll just take her her birth control pills and abort her kids without a second thought. So
I think that not only are modern women comparable to prostitutes, but prostitutes are actually superior in most cases because they're honest and upfront a lot more than your modern woman is. They put a price on it. The guy actually gets what he wants out of it, unless in the rare occasion he's getting scammed or something. Modern women scam a lot more than prostitutes do.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll string you along for a lot more money, make you jump through a lot more hoops with no guarantee of getting anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was addicted to escorts for a while. You give her money, you fuck her, and then she goes away. It's like, that's better than dealing with any woman today.
Todd, I was a little concerned about you. Months back, I think you talked about self-castration or taking pills to kind of lower your libido or whatever. How's that going for you? I'm not so sure I think that's a great idea, but I understand why you did it. If you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah. Well, I started taking some pills just to kill my libido. I stopped taking them a few months ago now. It was kind of a risky, stupid decision, but I decided to do it because, I have my own issues with like sex addiction, and it's lowered some problems in my life. I mean, now I don't watch porn. I don't do any of that. So yeah, I mean, it might not be for everyone, but I mean, it kind of worked for me. So I mean, like I'm never gonna like have children to be in a good relationship probably. So man, I had nothing to lose. So
I don't know if I go so far as taking pills, but I've had similar thoughts. Like when the Google Glasses came out and all these sort of things, I thought it would be excellent if I could somehow get a pair of these, strap them to my head, and configure them in such a way that they edit women out of my view. Because my thing is like, if I don't get to fuck them, I don't want to look at them, I don't want to be triggered by them. I'd rather they just not exist in my little world.
yeah, that was my thoughts exactly. I just want to stop bothering with them whatsoever, and I still pretty much feel that way.
I was curious, Todd, about what your thoughts are on maybe getting old. Does your heart die when you grow up? And what do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, the older I get, like the less I just care about shit, and the more I just want my life to be simple and stress free. Like I used to care about having a career and building a life. And the older I get, it's just like whatever. That stuff just kind of goes to the wayside, So, yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that, Western Decline?
I mean, I didn't even get to his age before I really started feeling it. I gave up on my career in my basically late 20s. I've been working for 10 years and it never got me anywhere, and I had a younger brother at the time that was basically getting a free ride. He had a car, the down payment for a new sports car given to him by my mother. He didn't make like hardly any of his insurance payments or payments on the actual vehicle, yet he got to experience all the fruits of having the benefit of this car to attract girls for like 2 years. And at the end of it, when it got repoed, he just filed bankruptcy. Collectors stopped calling him after like 6 months. And I'd been working the whole time. And what did I have to show for being financially responsible? Pretty much nothing. So the career stuff is nonsense when guys that aren't doing any of that are coming out ahead.
The black pill's kind of cynical and they kind of scoff at a lot of the red pillars. And I'm just curious, Todd, and Western Decline, you can go ahead and add to this about kind of maybe like game theory being applied to relationships, that it's like this trick that you have to play, this game, this way to maneuver to make it work. Do you have anything to add or say to that, Todd?
Yeah, like I don't completely disagree with like red pill thinking. It's just that for me, it's not something I would ever want. If you're a red pillar, I mean, I don't know, you're like the general thing that I think about is like it's like some older guy who's like just working and like builds up like a lot of money and resources, and then he tries to get like a younger woman or something like that. And so red pill, I just kind of view it as like you just want to be like some beta bucks, who thinks they can use a younger woman. I question how viable that is today with like how easy it is for women to get money and such. But I mean, like if you're a guy who's like willing to be a beta box and you want that kind of life, I mean, I go for it. I guess it's just not for me. I mean, as far as like some like red pill stuff where it's like these gym maxers and stuff, like women don't care about that. Like a lot of that is cope, but I don't know. I mean, if you're a guy who believes in that and it gives you like some answers to life, I mean, I guess go nuts with it. I don't know.
I think my complaint with Red Pill would just be that it seems to miss a lot of important steps. Red Pill puts all the blame on the man's shoulders. It's a very gynocentric way of thinking, and it leaves you with the impression that everything's within your control. It always has been, and it's your fault if you're failing. You need to put in the work, like they love to say. And some of that may be true, but a lot of it is the hand you're dealt with at the onset of life, and they never admit that. They never admit that, some guys are hard capped, that no matter how hard they work, they're never going to ascend to the heights of another one. The only thing I think Red Pill really gets right is that a lot of it is also behavioral. It's not necessarily how you look, but that's all they get right. They incorrectly identify the behavior that women actually like too. I think women want a guy that behaves beta in a Chad's body. But if they have to choose between the two, they'll take the guy that looks better. But they want the beta fucks. They want like the blend. That's why they're always complaining about how the guys that look good act, but those guys act that way because they can. It's where the oofy doofy stuff comes from too. I think women really do prefer how oofy doofies act a lot of the time. They just don't want to fuck them.
I want to ask you guys, and this is kind of like a weird question. I don't know how to say this. I'm kind of just thinking out loud or whatever, but it sounds like Todd's like, I'm never settling. Like, I don't want to be beta bucks. And Western Decline, you've talked about how unless I get my virgin wife, like I want nothing. But women are expected to settle. Do you guys have anything to say to that?
I don't think women are expected to settle, at least not anymore.
Yeah, I don't see how like women are like said to settle. I mean,
I shouldn't say expected. I shouldn't say expected. Let's start that over. I shouldn't say expected to settle. I'm saying that black pillars want women to settle. That red pillars want women. That society or men in general want to find a girl who's going to settle for them. But you don't want to settle, Todd. Western Decline don't want to settle. Nick Fuentes doesn't want to settle. Do you get what I'm saying, Western Decline?
Well, I don't want to be settled for. I don't want to be begrudgingly accepted because a woman couldn't do any better. She tried and failed in other alleys, and it reluctantly ends up with me. That's that resentment. My parents had a relationship like that, and it wasn't much of a relationship at all. So far from women being the ones that fall for the Disney fairy tale, like the one true love, like I fell for that, man. And that's what I want. And I know that it can exist. It might be extremely rare, and I'd rather have nothing than that. I view all these other kind of relationships as very counterfeit. Why are you with someone just so you're not alone? You should be comfortable with yourself, to be honest. Not just get somebody and then attach yourself at the hip because you can't live with yourself. Like if you need that perpetual noise around you of another person, I mean, maybe that's just a different person than I am, but I much prefer my solitude to being around the wrong sort of people.
Well, I can say like, here's my demands of a woman. Don't be fat, and like don't be some single mother like fucking a bunch of like random other dudes. That's pretty much it. I mean, if that's like too high of demands, well, I mean, okay, fair enough. Like I've even dated like very rotund women, so like I'm willing to settle for like low, and I'm the same as Western Decline. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I'm autistic. I'm very fine being alone. I've been alone my entire life. And even if I am do someday get in a relationship with a woman, she's going to have to be understanding that I need a lot of alone time, like a lot. So I'm content with like not having a relationship the rest of my life. And I always kind of have been, so yeah.
That's a good point. You adjust to this kind of lifestyle after a while, especially if you kind of went into it willingly in the first place, and introducing another person that's going to disturb it. After a while, you're very set in your ways.
Yeah. And when I see these women online and how they act, it's like, I know they would just make my life worse. So it's like, even the women I've talked to and I really enjoy talking to, I know if I lived with them, like it would be hell. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, we hear about women like living on life on easy mode, tutorial mode, but maybe that their lives aren't as easy as you think, and that getting to walk home alone or being able to walk in a forest by yourself and not having everyone harass you or try to fuck you or rape you, is that maybe downplayed, Todd? Like, life isn't all Valhalla. You want to point fingers at who's got a better life, and I mean, you do have some advantages in life that maybe others don't. You're physically fit, you're tall, you get to walk around, you get to be invisible, you get to kind of just be alone, and you like your alone time. So do you have anything to speak to and say to that, Todd, that being able to walk by yourself and not be mugged or worried about anybody bothering you? In fact, it's the opposite, right? People think you're a pedophile.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is also another thing. Like if a random, even like young, attractive woman walked where I work, walks where I live, like she's fine. But but women, they choose, like they want to live in the big cities. They want to live around dangerous areas with like black people. Like, yeah, if you walk there, there's a good chance you're gonna get raped and you're gonna have some nigger like cat calling you. I mean, women, like they put themselves in these situations largely. So I mean, like that, I can't really feel sorry for them. Are women living in tutorial mode? They absolutely are. I mean, socially, it's obvious. I mean, like socially, the government, special treatment in like every regard. Jobs, careers, like just money. I mean, like it's basically impossible for a woman to be homeless. That's why the homeless in the United States is like 90% male. Women do have it on tutorial mode. They have a lot of things easier, And just because if a woman doesn't feel safe walking around, like quite frankly, I just don't care,
I think with women and feeling safe while walking alone, they're in a lot better position to protect themselves. If a woman lives in the United States, she could be armed to the teeth and nobody would think anything differently of her. You've seen all these pictures where a guy will be getting a coffee or something and he'll be open carrying, and they'll snap a picture behind him and go, "Does this make anyone else feel safe? This is dangerous. He shouldn't be doing that." Whereas if you were a woman, you could have a fucking bazooka strapped to your back and nobody would say shit. She could just go, I need this. I don't have a man. I'm an independent woman. Like, I got to defend myself. If I was the NRA, this is the image I'd be pushing to try and normalize, open carry of firearms and everything else. I'd be using women as the Trojan horse to get it back into the culture. Have women walk around strapped like Rambo with the ammo belts across their shoulder and everything else. It takes one of them mag dumping some criminal, getting elevated to hero status, and they'll all be doing it. You could have firearms back normal tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think when women, like, they go on about safety, there's an example I saw today with a woman who I used to talk to on here who, she's just babbling about safety. And this is a woman who literally had random men, like hundreds of them, pay to travel her across the country to go to their place to fuck. And she has like recordings of herself getting fucked by a black guy. And now she's gonna go on here and ramble about safety, like whatever. Like I think a lot of that is just completely overblown.
Women want the liberty to do insanely dangerous and risky things, but then be protected from the problems that they get themselves into.
Exactly. Women just don't want to have any responsibility for anything they do, and today's society is just completely glad to give that to them, and that's why I think society is like broken now.
That's actually my main complaint with the idea of paying taxes is I don't want to contribute to a social safety net that leads to my exclusion from the dating market. That's the main complaint. Like, I don't want to feed the beast that displaces me. You're funding the ultimate alpha male, the government, so then the government can then come and George Floyd you if a woman decides that you hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
Western Klein, did you have any specific questions for Todd? And if you don't, it's fine. I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't want to press the issue if he's not interested in it. I'm just curious of the whole Rowan arc from his perspective, because that was around the time that I was introduced to his channel, and from my channel, if anybody watches it, they know that I like sharing how my experiences went bad with women to try and warn guys so they can avoid falling into the same traps. So I'm always curious to hear about, boots on the ground experiences.
Sure. Like, where do I even begin with her? Like, what would you specifically want to know about, like, what happened with her?
The rise, the crescendo, the fall, the what it started as, what it became, how it ended.
Okay, well, I'll try to explain it somewhat. Not too long. Okay, so Rowan was a girl who was on YouTube. She was making videos about, like, black pill, mainly like black pill videos. And one day she found me, and she like really, really wanted to talk to me. She made me get on Discord, and she like just always messaged me. She love bombed me pretty much. If you know what that is, like she just said all like the nice things, like just trying to win me over. At first, for like the first couple of months, I was very suspicious dealing with her because she was on YouTube and she was like half naked doing all this other stuff. And I was like, if you're going to be some OnlyFans girl, like I'm not interested. And like for the first couple of months, it was like that. And I was like pushing her away that entire time, while she just like so badly wanted to win me over for reasons I could never understand. You gotta remember, like she was like a 23-year-old girl at the time. She's half my age. Like she's a cute girl. I didn't know what the hell she was doing. So anyway, like eventually she won me over, just like constantly talking to me, like, just lavishing me in positive attention. She has borderline personality disorder, so she's really, really good at that. And things were, awesome for a while. Eventually, she, pushed to make things sexual, even though she had a boyfriend, which was probably a red flag I should have listened to myself to avoid. But, she made things sexual. We were doing video chats and doing all that stuff. And it was really fun. But then, I kind of caught on, then she was talking to other guys online. And there was one specifically that was kind of what led to the downfall. There was one guy that she was like just obviously fucking with. Like she would tell him stories about how she's fucking like all these other dudes. And then I confronted her on it, and then she gets all like weird about it with me. And the whole thing with Rowan is like, the annoying thing is like when I pushed her away, she would always like, love bomb me and try to make things work. And when I did start being nice to her and, falling for her, well, then she'd play like the stupid games. And it was always just like that push and pull game with her. Till eventually, like at the end, to get her to just go away, like I just like shared nude pictures of her, which was a stupid thing to do. And that's what eventually, pissed her off. And then after all that, then she just like swore off all men, and she became a TERF or something. And then she became a they them. Like she like shaved her head and started acting like a man. And then I don't even know. I just wanted to forget she even existed. But
that has to have an effect on a man, where like a woman turns gay or like asexual or whatever the fuck.
He Chad widowed her. She's destroyed. She can't live without him.
Yeah, I don't know. It had an effect on me. I mean, I really liked her, and it was like the first girl who was ever nice to me. And I was like 40 years old at the time. She's young, so she's fulfilling that role that I desperately wanted when I was younger. To have a girl like that like me. And and she eventually won me over, and then she just like she fucked me over then.
Todd, has being an infamous lolcow helped you with women at all?
Other than like a handful of like crazy online girls messaging me, no, not really.
It's interesting that you mentioned the love bombing. I experienced a very kind of similar thing. Almost any time I had these interactions with women, they would always come on very like hard. And I think that they do that intentionally with guys that they sense are like inexperienced or whatever. Because you're gonna like fall for it. You're not gonna be suspicious or whatever. And it's interesting that this is one of women's main complaints with men. And I don't think a lot of guys really do the love bombing thing. I think that it's women's projection of their own behaviors onto men. You know, women are the real creeps. Women
That's a
are the
fucking
stalkers.
great point, Western Decline. That's a great point. It's so fucking. It's projection, bro.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these women, like, you know, they just want to mess with the guy they feel they can control. I mean, that was definitely Rowan's thing. I mean, I found out over time, like Rowan, you know, she enjoyed like pegging guys and doing that kind of shit. And thankfully, it never got to that point with me. But
Well, that's we seen that same archetype with that girl that converted out of OnlyFans to conservatardism. Right? She was doing her OnlyFans and she'd go on that whatever podcast and she'd brag about how she was getting guys to cheat on their wives with her, how she was turning guys gay, how she was pegging them. I think that
And the right wing held her up like a damn celebrity. Fuck this
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, they did. And I think that for a lot of women, women are very porn brained. Like, where does a woman go after, you know, after exhausting the entire BDSM category, after having half of her brain cells choked away, after having her ass prolapsed and everything else? Like, she gets into this degenerate shit. I think that's how a lot
Very
of them
good.
end up
Western
there.
Decline, you're hitting it out of the park, man. Fucking A. I'm gonna post a comment, Todd. I'd like you to read it and then maybe respond to it if you could.
okay. The scary thing is that we as white men have no way of knowing for sure whether a white woman has ever had sex with a non-white. If you ask and she knows it bothers you, she will lie and say no. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, like the concern is if a white woman like admits to it, like, you know, she's a lost cause. So, yeah, I mean, you can never really know.
Todd, I remember I was fucking this girl from work, and she was trying to talk about her sisters and how, like, how they were dirty dogs, they were fucking blacks, in her apartment. And it's like, the fact that she even told me the story, it's like, yeah, she was with them. You know what I mean? She was getting down with it, and like, I didn't even need to ask. Like, this girl's 32. She's, was a primo puss in her heyday when she was 20. I seen pictures of her, and I got her for a little while, and it was kind of fun. But and I hate to sound mean because it's like, God, or harsh, but it's like, you can't marry a girl like that. I mean, you can, get her attention for a while, but there's no real reason to sort of mend that fence. And that's why I love you, Todd, because you're not trying to be beta bucks, and I'm not either. I'd rather be going golfing and playing tennis or whatever the fuck you want to do. Go play video games, go ride a motorcycle. Why deal with these fucking crazy bitches?
Yeah. I mean, if a woman is even entertaining, like, getting with a black guy, like, she's just for the streets. She's not for you. You don't even like consider marrying her a relationship. So it's like, she's done. Like, just forget it. I mean, unless you really want to fuck a woman like that, I'd rather fuck escorts. But whatever.
I'm curious,
Todd. Western Decline, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I'm curious what the conversation was like that led up to her revealing that to you, because my spider senses are telling me that this is kind of like when women will ask for an open relationship after they've already been cheating on a guy to normalize what they've already been doing before they get caught for doing it. So I wonder, like, did she get some sort of vibe off of you that you wouldn't be into that and it would bother you, and she knew that there was some, gorilla in her closet at some point that you might stumble upon, so she's trying to like get out ahead of it?
Are you asking about Rowan, like she wanted to peg me?
No, Thomas, with the girl he was just talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Like,
I'm sorry. Say that again. I was stepping out to get a
So
drink.
the girl you were talking about that talked about how her sisters were like dating interracially, let's say, like,
No, having a little fun in her apartment.
yeah. Do you think that she got some sort of a vibe off of you that you wouldn't approve of her doing that? So she tried to get out ahead of it, like how women will ask for an open relationship after they've already been cheating to get a stamp of approval on something that they were doing covertly after the fact.
Uh, I just think she wanted to send. It was like putting feelers out, right? Like how I'd react to it, and I just kind of. I don't need to like respond or react to women. I just don't need to like even give them my cards. I can just kind of keep it silent, keep it in my mind, and know that this girl is obviously there's a reason she's 32 and doesn't have children and is messing around with men at different workplaces, like she's on her last leg or whatever, and it's sad. I feel bad for her. Like, you're 32 and you're like a hot blonde, Catholic girl, Northwest white, probably Irish. I think she's Irish girl, good looking girl, and it's sad to see her just destroy her life with alcohol and hookup culture, and it's just in living in an apartment by herself, and like she was so embarrassed she didn't want me to see her bathroom. And that's kind of like the point I want to make with like men, men in the black pill space. Is like women are filthy. Like, you see their car, you see their bathroom, you'll fucking know. I mean, I know a lot of these black pillars are virgins, but I'm telling you, women aren't. You think they're like these neat creatures or whatever. They're fucking dirty dogs.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. From the few girls I've known very well online, every one of them like lived the most disgusting, filthy, just literally throwing garbage and shit all over the floor. Just repulsive. I know.
Damn, bitch, you live like this?
I wanted to ask Todd, and Western Decline, you can add. I want Todd to go first. It's just I'm kind of talking out loud, and I just want to kind of present this kind of question or statement and have you respond to it, Todd, about kind of men and having bigger things on their mind. Um, that maybe two worlds are happening with men, that they're sidetracked, that they're not maybe living in the moment, and that women don't understand what men are going through, and that men have a lot of bigger kind of ideas in their mind, and you're little like fucking painting your nails and getting the fucking next fucking boutique or whatever at the store is a fucking isn't something men think about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As a man, you probably, I think we all think eventually, you just want to build a family and build a nice life. And it seems like women just like, not only do they not want it, they're repulsed by it. I mean, obviously that's what they're being taught in school now. Like, have your own career, just buy all the shit, be a consumer, live your life as carefree as possible. So I mean, yeah, women just don't care,
Western Decline, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, it's like that meme, right? Where the woman, the couple's sitting on the couch, the woman's staring at the guy going, oh, I wonder what's on his mind. He's been so distracted lately. Is he cheating on me? And then it shows the thought bubble above the guy's head, and it's like, motorcycle won't start. And that can be applied to a whole lot of stuff. Any men have their mind on solving an actual problem.
What's
And
that famous meme, Western Decline? The the Roman Empire.
yeah, how many times do guys think about the Roman Empire each day? Yeah, like men are trying to get back to like a mythical time where things allegedly used to be better. You have the Roman Empire lusters, you have the Han Chinese. They want to go back to when they were like dominant or whatever. You got every group of man is looking back to a time when his like ancestors were like conquerors and had their like boot on the neck of everybody else. Yeah, I agree with that poster. But I don't think it takes very much teaching. I think that this is women's natural inclination, and to get them to act another way requires a lot of structure and reinforcement.
Yeah. I want to move on. let's talk about parents. Parents being a setback, loser parents, introducing your parents to maybe a girl you have an affinity for. Do you want to speak to this, Todd? Do you have anything to say to that?
I mean, just for myself, like my parents are, working class, like pretty much classic, like white trash kind of people. I always would have been, reticent to, show them to any girl because like women care a lot about, value and social status. And if they see my parents, they're pretty much the antithesis of that. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else when it comes to parents, especially like my parents are boomer age, like they just don't understand. Like,
isn't that part of it though, Todd? I have to think that like, and I'm kind of like you. My parents were boomers, and they weren't the coolest people. They were divorced twice, right? And their lives are kind of a mess, and it's like it's almost like a setback or a worry for me. Like I have to like, I've already been fucking a girl. Let's say she's a 20 or 31-year-old roasty, and it's like, well, introducing her to my parents isn't going to help me. Does that speak to you, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be pointless. I mean, especially like young women today, like how are they going to relate to my parents who have been married, for like over 40 years, and all they did was, just work all day and come home, and that's all they ever did. Like they're just going to think like a woman today will just think like that's weird, and like almost my mom was like oppressed or something, like I just don't think they would even relate to each other at all. So.
Go ahead, run with that, Western Decline. I know you're itching. You have to have something to say.
I mean, I've been embarrassed of my parents for a long time. I used to be mainly embarrassed of my father, but as I got older, it became like I'm far more embarrassed of my mother. I remember when I was playing on the basketball team in like ninth grade, one of our basketball practices lined up with Father's Day. And I was like, oh man, my dad's gonna humiliate me here. He's gonna show up in his fucking New Balances and like make me look like a dork. And the opposite actually happened. He still showed up in his New Balances and like or whatever, but my dad was legitimately good at basketball, far better than I was, and he was like draining 3-pointers like crazy. So my dad actually like mugged me. I couldn't get a ball in the hoop if my life depended on it. That ball went to me. I was passing to the guy on my team that actually could. But as the years went by with my mother goes out of her way to be as humiliating as possible. If you've ever seen some young women are often very sensitive to this. They'll complain about how their mother dresses in like a disgusting way, like low class. And that's what my mother is like for like a long period of time. My mother will be like 50, 60 years old and like haggard. And she's wearing these fucking like, she's wearing hand-me-downs from when my sister was like a 12-year-old. And it's like, I don't care if I have to go buy you a wardrobe so you don't look like this fucking crackhead retard, but like, you got to stop leaving the house like that. And any amount of criticism towards the way she's dressed is met with like, well, I can do whatever I want. I'm this age. And it's like, you're actually a horrible representation of the rest of your family. So being humiliated by a parent.
Does your parents really affect outcomes with your success with women? Because I believe it does, regardless of genes or looks or, sure, like the fucking good looking, like, what is it, that fucking black or hybrid dude who was in jail? What's his name? Yeah, Todd, you always talk about him. The guy that gets all the women that beat his Jeremy Meeks. So like, yeah, I understand the Jeremy Meeks meme, but in a general sense, I think creating homes, creating family, creating procreation, family is important, is it not, Western Decline? And Todd, you can push back and say, fuck that, it's all fucking looks. And if you're a fucking Chad, yeah, you get the puss.
Like family should be what matters, but it's just not reality anymore. Like women don't care. And women are the ones that, control like the dating market. So what can you do?
And the idea that your mother could set you up with people, I had an experience like that, and it happened once. It only happened once, and I never want it to happen again. Women do not pick the type of girl that you'll like. They don't, like, your mother isn't going to pick the type of girl that you like in most cases. She's not going to pick a girl that's, good for you. She's going to pick a girl like herself that she sympathizes with. And that's what happened to me. My mother had a single mother friend when I was in my teenage years, and she tried to set me up with this mother's daughter. And first of all, the whole thing was doomed to fail from the beginning. Okay, but I remember my mom was like, if you don't go to this, like, I'm turning off the internet or something. So I had no choice. I had to go along with it. And going on a date with each of your moms present chaperoning it, it's already doomed. Okay, it's totally fucked right from the get-go. That's not going anywhere. And I was like 15 or 16 at the time, and this girl that they're trying to set me up with was already chain smoking. Okay, like, if a chick is sucking down cigarettes at 15, 16 years old, she's been sucking down a lot more than that. Okay, like, this isn't I'm a good boy, okay? I haven't been in all these sort of issues. I don't want to be with this, like, when I was in high school, we had this area called the smoke pit. Okay, and you weren't allowed to smoke on high school property, so all the kids would cross the street and they'd go to the parking lot across the road that got called the smoke pit for every break. And the smoke pit girls were like the dirtiest ones because they just bounce around between all the guys there that had weed or cigarettes or whatever, doing whatever to get freebies. And, like, that's who my mom tried to, like, you literally set me up with this girl because she smokes cigarettes like a chimney like you do? And that's how my mom picked her. Well, she's just like me. We can smoke on the deck and complain about my son together.
Todd, I'm curious. I know you're an older gentleman. How old are you? In your 40s?
I'm 40, yeah.
Do you ever bother with dating apps or trying to get a woman in your life? Do you even bother anymore?
I mean, that's how I dated every woman I met was through dating apps. So yeah.
Are you currently swiping right or left on a dating app in the current year?
Well, I haven't bothered. Like, I've had no interest in dating for like over a year now. I used to, though. I mean, it's not fun, but yeah. I mean, for a guy my age, like, where else am I supposed to meet women? I mean, like, socializing. Once you get to like your upper 20s, like, nobody wants to socialize with people. Like, so
Todd,
yeah.
Todd, I understand that you're getting older and you don't give a fuck, and that's totally cool, and I love it. What is your take on simps? Because I know you have simped, and all of us have simped. I simped in my life. Western Decline was a simp at some point, or did a simp? He put on a simp move. We all put on a simp move. You did it. It's kind of like hating what you are. Do you have anything to say about simps? Because I know you've kind of moved past simpery, and I'm curious what you think about simps.
I hate that I used to simp. I look back at my old behavior and I'm just embarrassed, and I hate myself for doing it. I'm pretty much at the point in my life now where I'm just not going to simp, and I don't care because I realize it's pointless. And with the women I dated, I see how it works. Like, if a woman is attracted to you, she's going to make it easy, and you don't have to try. You don't have to do any of this like stupid simping shit. You don't have to try winning her over. If you have to simp, it's already over. So just stop doing it, because when you simp, all you're doing now is you're going to get these women who want to just suck the life out of you. They're succubi. They want to just drain all the attention and just ruin your lives pretty much. So there's no point in simping. You're just going to hurt yourself. And I understand, like, if you're a lonely guy, and it's like, well, how else am I going to talk to women? How else am I going to meet women? I get it, but like all you're doing is hurting yourself. So just stop it. And like, all my simping was just pointless. Because even with the girls online that I talk to, like Rowan, I never simp for her. Like, I mean, she oddly simped for me. So just don't do it. It's not going to be to any benefit for you because you're just going to get these women who are just going to like fuck with you. So stop it.
Western Decline, you can jump in if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, the one time I simped, I got rejected by the girl, and you know, I'd like to think that it was my arrest that drew all the attraction from women, but what I actually got as well, I think there was two categories of women that got attracted. There were girls her age that like wanted the same type of attention, whether it was positive or negative. You know, it could have just been a social hierarchy thing. Like they wanted to be able to like flex on her, like I got this out of him too. But I think that a lot of the older girls that showed up, like it was a complete like ego bruise thing. The fact that I had like publicly sent flowers to this other girl like really irked them in a way where they just came around trying to like scrounge shit out of me, and it wasn't flattering in any way at all. It would be like imagine you gave a hobo $100 bill one day, and then every time you go to like the 7-Eleven or the gas station, all the other hobos are like lingering around you. That's kind of what it felt like. So I wouldn't recommend doing it either. Now I did it because I felt like I had to be extra formal and polite given the circumstance, and even then, it wasn't worth it in any way, shape, or form.
I want to shift gears just slightly, or well, maybe a lot. I just want to ask a question. I want to maybe it's a topic of discussion. I want to maybe just present this to you guys. Todd, you worked a long time. You worked full time, and you didn't ever get family. You didn't get procreation. You didn't get love. You didn't get a nice, dutiful woman to cook cookies for you when you got home. And I'm just curious about what your guys' thoughts. Todd, you can go first. Thoughts about employment in the modern era. Thoughts about employment in the current year, about how employers are paying employees but not really paying them. Other ways to pay a man. Benefits. Having these sort of little extra quote benefits, but they're not giving you the money. You're not getting the Benjamins. Maybe you'll get discounts, health benefits, other ways to pay people being employed, perhaps bullshit and kind of fucking stupid and kind of retarded, and I fucking hate it. And I'm just curious what you guys think about that. Todd, go ahead and go first.
Yeah, well, like, what is the point of employment now? Like, there's no pride in having a career because, like, who cares? Nobody cares. Women don't care. And you talk about benefits, like, the entire time I worked, now that I'm, on SSI, like, I have the best health coverage I've ever had while not working. Like, that's how stupid it is. What's the point of working when you're a lonely guy? All you're really going to have is money, and you're going to waste a lot of that money on, responsibilities for going to work and your life. It's just, what's the point? There just isn't any. And we need a society where, again, it's like the society should be based on building the nuclear family, and we're far away from that. And until shit changes, I mean, there's just no point for men to do any like career maxing. Why? There's none. Like, I don't know what else to say about that.
Western Clyde, do you have anything to add to that? Other ways of paying employees?
I mean, I could think of a couple ways, but they're so outlandish that they never happen, right? Like maybe your manager goes, "Okay, man, listen, bro, like I can't give you any more of a
card. You got a gift card.
No, I can't give you any more of a raise, but like maybe your employer understands your predicament at some point. Okay, maybe they know you're kind of a loser, you struggle with girls. The best way they could pay you is to hire your type of girl to be your coworker and work under you. Okay, that's maybe one way where they could pay you in a way that actually matters without they're giving you more money. You know, in terms of the actual benefits of the job, though, this is why I've thought, like, if I have to work, you know, maybe McDonald's or one of these places wouldn't be so bad, because you're actually going to be working with young women. That's like the silver lining of the job. You know, maybe you could be the cool
Yeah, I
older
was gonna
guy at
say
your job.
I was at the golf course a couple days ago, and this 16-year-old's complaining about his pay. You know, he's whining to Thomas. He's just disgruntled, and I'm kind of just listening. You know, I'm kind of hearing his complaints. He's a 16-year-old. He's making $12 an hour, and he wants more out of life, and I understand. $12 an hour was probably $4 an hour when I worked when I was his age. You know, it's the same pay. It's not, you know, anything more. You know, buying power. I'm sure everyone understands inflation in the current year and how, you know, Bidenomics or whatever the fuck the right wing's calling it. You know, you spend $20 at the grocery store, you get two items, three items. But the thing is that he's not what I kind of like expressed this to him. Like, you're around rich people, you're around pretty young girls. Like, there's some advantage, is there not, Western Decline, for a 16-year-old to be around another 15, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old women?
Uh, in that particular situation, I think that, you know, it's good in the sense that, you know, you get to practice interacting with them, but I do kind of sympathize with the position where, like, every day he goes to work, he gets mogged constantly too, right? Because he's around girls that age, but he's also like, it's like rich older guys with expendable income and time that are showing up to use the golf course in the first place, or the clubhouse or whatever that's there. So I could see why that might not be as enticing as it's thought to be on the surface. Networking opportunities with those same guys, though, you know, might be a better silver lining there. But it's also like, when I was a kid, I was not taught about any kind of this networking or anything. I was told to keep my nose in the books. I got to study. I got to focus on making sure that I get good grades, because that's all that's going to matter in life. And that's not at all the way the elite people do it, right? Like, elite people, they'll pay $200,000 to send their kid to a prestigious university, just so he can network with the people there, just so he can get to know people. So it's that benefit might be there, but it's not surprising that he doesn't know how to capitalize on it. I'm 10, 15 years his senior, and I wouldn't know what to do with that opportunity.
Yeah, I don't really have the answers or anything I can do to help him, but I have to imagine what he's doing is maybe better than just sitting at home whacking it, right, and playing games. Like, get out in the world. Western Decline is, and Todd, you can add to that, but Western Decline, can you respond to that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't necessarily regret my time that I spent wage cucking. I think what I regret was, I had my nose to the grindstone, thinking I was going to get something out of it that would never materialize. If I had went into it with a different mindset of, I'm just going to be here so I can earn a couple shekels, have some spending money, I'm not going to take it too seriously. If I get fired, I get fired, fine. If I don't impress anybody, fine. No, I'm just here for the money, and I'm going to act that way. Then it would have been different. I'd probably still be waging if my last job that I had, like the last serious one, didn't get destroyed by the girl that they hired to work with me. I didn't dislike it. I was able to work in, relative solitude. I didn't really hate my coworkers. They were okay, as far as coworkers go, but I'm not going to hang around a girl that is getting paid more than me for being my underling. That's a self-deprecating position at that point, and I'm going to abandon it.
You have anything to add, Todd?
Well, I think of one of the things that Held by a Dashboard Light often says, and he says if you're going to work, like, the optimal place you should want to work is someplace that's highly social, like a mall or in retail, because then you'll be around younger women, and I guess if you do that, you'll have more chances and you'll feel more alive. I don't know. I mean, I guess in my age and in my looks level, if I did that, I'd probably just be miserable seeing women like that, because, like, I'm seeing what I can't have. But I mean, if you still feel like you have a chance, that's probably the way to go. I mean, if you're, say, like a a 21-year-old guy or something, that's probably the way to go. That's probably the wisest thing you can do. If you can tolerate it, because like there's going to be a lot of rejection and a lot of frustration. Yeah. I guess that's like the main benefit you could find in working.
You can tell when one of those guys are around because you'll walk into an establishment and instead of the usual smorgasbord of fresh off the boat Pajeets that are staffing the fast food restaurant or whatever it happens to be, it will be nothing but attractive young women. And I think that this is, if you're a low tier guy, you kind of got to become the lord of your own little fiefdom. You should aim for kind of a manager position in one of these places where you can control hiring. Hire only women that you'd consider having sex with, and the social dynamics will take care of a lot of the rest of it yourself. I'm not saying that this will work if you're absolutely repulsive, but the women are very attuned to what's going on in a particular environment. And if they notice that one girl is getting the easier assignments, the favorable shifts and everything else, they're gonna take note of why she's getting that and act accordingly.
Is that not maybe women's kind of gift in life, the being able to see through the bullshit that men can't? Western Decline, do you have anything to say to that? I know you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean they women are black pilled from day one. Women know the importance of looks. They know it's obvious by how much effort they put into their own. They know how much benefit they can gain by looking a certain way, and they know how much it's going to hurt them not looking that way. Everything that they tell men about looks not mattering is complete bullshit. Unless you're hearing it from a woman that doesn't wear makeup, she shouldn't be believed.
Yeah. I hate dealing with women who wear like a little eyeliner or a little bit of makeup's fine, but these women that I can't even date a woman that cakes on makeup. It's disgusting. Makeup's gross.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I highly prefer natural women. Yeah, I agree with Western Incline. Like women are born black pilled. They know looks matter and they lie about it constantly, and that's pretty much why I hate them. So,
All right, I got another topic I want to ask you guys about. I want Western Decline to maybe go first. I'm gonna raise this question and have you guys respond. And that we're gonna talk about anonymity. Anons on the internet, including myself and Western Decline. Todd, you're using your real name, your first name. You're using your camera. And I want to maybe say that this is kind of fucked up. I know a lot of people on the right wing, a lot of freedom lovers love anonymity, but I'm not so sure it's maybe the answer, or it's maybe good or healthy for the kind of dialogue, for conversation, for pushing forward ideas. Ghostwriting is bullshit. It's disruptive. That conservatives hide, that people hiding under pen names, people using anonymity. I can't even say the word. This anon kind of thing going on with like the freedom lovers in America. People love anonymity. They love to be kind of, not being spotted, not being held responsible for what they say. Western Decline, do you want to speak to this first, and then Todd, you can follow up? Western Decline, I know you have a lot to say about this, and I don't want to hate the whole anonymity thing, but I do believe it is kind of fucked up, this whole dialogue and this kind of a way to kind of move forward in presenting ideas, presenting debate. Go ahead, Western Decline, and Todd can answer after.
I like anonymity, but I think that for it to be really effective, it has to be forced on everybody. That's why 4chan was, for a period of time, kind of the crucible of ideas in the West, because people had all of this window dressing of how people look, their real life achievements, whether they're male or female. Everything was stripped away, and all that was left was the actual opinion. And you see kind of the opposite with Twitter, where, if you have an anonymous account, people look at you as, well, nothing. We shouldn't take anything that he says with any kind of validity because he's not showing his face. We don't know who's saying it. So I'm one or the other is fine to me. I prefer anonymity myself, honestly, but I think mixing them is where you run into an issue. And you have people that value different things. Is how I'd look at it. I think they want to take away anonymity for obvious reasons, though. Not that anybody online's ever really anonymous.
We've got people like Destiny who's losing. He's losing monetization. We've got Home Depot workers who said something about Donald Trump, but why should I care? I'm not trying to defend the left or the right, because I know the left, is kind of enduring some of what the right has been enduring for 20 years. Do you have anything to say to that, Western Decline? Because this is fucking bullshit. I'm fucking tired of this shit where people are losing their job working at Home Depot, or they donated $25 to, Kyle Rittenhouse on his trial. And do you get what I'm saying, Western Decline? This is fucking bullshit.
I mean, nobody seemed to care about the canceling and destruction of person until it was happening to left-wingers. Up to that point, when it was right-wing people being canceled and having their lives fucked up, it was, free speech, but not freedom of consequences and everything else like that. Now that the occasional left-wing person is getting canceled, and now all of a sudden, we can't become like the left. We can't do this. You're no better than them. And it just reminds me of that Stone Toss comic where they've got all the guys on their knees, like tied up. They're shooting them in the head, kicking them into a pit. It's like an execution. And the guy beside him is saying, we can't use the government to get rid of our enemies, while the government is being used by their enemies to get rid of them. So you can die on that hill if you want to.
Todd,
but I don't think it's worth it.
Todd, do you have anything to say to what we've been kind of, just something to riff off of? Anything to riff off of there?
I know that I'm fully open about like who I am. I mean, I dox myself constantly, which is stupid. But
By the way, wait a second, Todd. I love it. I love how you dropped the Addy. I love it, man. I dropped the Addy. You're the best, man. Like, come fight me, faggot. I love it, man. You're the best.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in a rare position where I have nothing to lose. Like, I'm uncancelable, pretty much. I understand why most people have to be anonymous. I mean, if you have a job and a life and anything, like, it's foolish, like, disclosing anything today. The internet is just pure cancer at this point. Like, there's so many people that just want to cancel each other and try to ruin their lives. And I've seen countless people on here just get fucked with, like, relentlessly online, and like swattings and just crazy ass shit. I mean, I'm lucky that I've never had any of that, anything even close to that. Yeah, you got to be anonymous. I fully understand it. And like politically, I mean, I get it. Like now, like I know, people getting canceled, it was never an issue until, it started happening to leftists and everyone pretty much equally. Yeah, it's just, I understand why people have to be anonymous, though, So.
I'm not against it, and I'm not for it. I just hate it. I just wish that I could be on Twitter and YouTube and use my real name and face and not worry about, I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm a free American, quote unquote, right? But I can't, like, stay in polite society and have a conversation with Todd Thundercock. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, we live in this crazy world today where, a person's entire identity is like their political party and crazy shit like this. It sucks. Like, society is fucked. Like,
all right. I got two more talking points and a list of names. and then we'll wrap up, Todd, because I know you're fucking itching to get the fuck out of here. We went about 90 minutes, and you're probably like, let me get the hell out of here and play video games. So I don't want to keep you too long. I hope you got another 20, 30 minutes left in you.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
But Todd, I really want to just remind the listeners and yourself that how much I appreciate your time, man. You're the king shit. And anybody talking shit about Todd, the autistic hermit's a piece of shit. This guy's the big dog. And I thank you for all the listeners. I'm glad to see what do we got? Over 100 live listeners. Thanks for the comments, guys. And we'll read a few of the comments if they're they stick out. The next one is going to be the difference between a 28-year-old woman and a 40-year-old woman. Is there any difference? Western Decline, I think I want you to go first, and then Todd, you can riff off of it. Difference between a 28-year-old woman and a 40-year-old white woman living in America. Is there a difference?
I would say that the average, if the 40-year-old woman has maintained herself, she may actually even be better than the 28-year-old woman, because they're both basically geriatric when it comes to pregnancies at that point. They've got miles piled on them. They're both like old. They're both basically old bitches. But the 40-year-old, if she still looks good, came from a generation before all women were tainted by cell phones and online dating and everything else. So there's a chance that she may actually have a personality that is more sufferable. Whereas a 28-year-old white woman in the modern day, unless she was just, rescued from Sasquatch captivity for the last decade or something, she's going to be a fucking nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, I generally agree with that. I mean, the hottest women that I think you can find, like, in my opinion, give me like some 40-year-old thin woman that's in shape. Like, I think that's optimal. I would prefer that over like some 20-year-old girl.
Not stuck in her phone, not as narcissistic. Does that relate, Todd? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like when I see Zoomer girls today, or even like millennials, I can't even relate to them whatsoever. I mean, it's just the younger the woman is, like, pretty much the more I'm just like drawn away from her, because like, yeah, I agree with that. It's younger women have just been indoctrinated just to like this insane world of like no responsibility and just doing all this crazy shit. And I'll take the older women.
I tend to agree, and that sounds insane, you guys. And I want you to maybe speak to this, both of you. Is that crazy that we maybe think highly or more highly of a 42-year-old who's got good health and genetics over a 29, 27-year-old white girl or middle of the road girl living in the Midwest?
I view them as they're both they're both vintage models. That's why I prefer the one that missed the majority of the brainwashed mental destruction that has happened to the iPad kids and the cell phone kids. If you're buying a classic car, do you care if it's 30 or 40 years old? Is there a big difference between the two? Or are you going to you're just looking for one that has survived the years well?
Yeah.
Good shit. Todd, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on dating apps and you like look at like the average 28-year-old woman, she's probably gonna be fat and a single mom. And if you look at a 40-year-old woman, she's probably gonna be fat and a single mom. So they're both like used goods. So like in that regard, I don't think it's that crazy, because a 28-year-old, like, Western Decline says, she's already vintage herself. So yeah, you're choosing like post-wall women. So yeah.
I got two more talking points, and then we'll list off a few names. The next one is going to be the gripe about solutions. That you and Western Decline are demoralization agents, that you're hurting men's prospects, that there are no solutions, and that you guys are, a detriment to men. Do you have anything to say to that? Todd, you can go first. Western Decline, you can go ahead and riff off that.
Yeah, I know people feel that way, and I do not believe I'm that way at all. Like any young man who comes to my channel and comments, I specifically say, like, if you're 25 or younger, leave this channel, go out there and socialize, and try as best as you can. You know, because this is your time. You got to do it now, or it's never going to happen. It's only going to get way harder. I tell young men this all the time. I've shooed young men away from my channel who like love me, and I tell them, get the fuck out of here and go and do it. You know, once you get to
Wait a second, Todd. Does that maybe speak to the Western spirit, the Western man, the white man, that they want to lose, that they're in a losing situation and they'd rather be cozying up to your stream than live life? That maybe white men want to lose. They don't even want to win. Is that something? Does that sound crazy?
I understand why men get to that point. I mean, like, what? I can't even imagine being like a college-aged young man right now. Like, I would just feel pure hopelessness looking at the women around me. Like, what else could you feel? I understand why they're frustrated and why they feel defeated, but it's like you have to try at some level. I mean, like, don't give up until the game is really over. And then once you're like 30 years old and you're alone, well, then you're fucked. And like, I mean, if you hold that against me for like telling some 30-year-old guy that it's over, you know, some 30-year-old virgin who's like ugly and women hate him and like it's over, well, you know, it is what it is, you know. I try not to be a downer, and I do feel like there are a lot of guys in this community that do like want to drag others down. I don't believe Western Decline is one of them himself, but you know, I don't believe I'm that way at all. But you know,
all right, Western
people look at the black pill stuff like really down, and I get it to some level. So,
Western Decline, go ahead and run with that if you have anything.
People hate the truth. That's, you know, I would have preferred to encounter a demoralization agent such as myself when I was 12 or 13 years old, and I could have been given a heads up on the dynamics that I'm going to be dealing with as I enter the marketplace of dating. I would have made a lot of better decisions than the ones that I did. I wouldn't have been operating under the idea that, you know, I'm developing myself as a man. I'm building myself up. I'm going to become more desirable as I get older. That's not the case at all. It's like Todd was saying, you gotta act while you're young, while you still have your youth, while people 30 is not young, man. Go try and ask out a 16-year-old girl that's stalking you when you're 25 like I did, and you'll find out that 25 gets treated like you're 50 years old, let alone 30. And whatever they're putting in the food that they're giving white boys nowadays, whether it's fucking headsets or whatever, so many of us are going bald, and that nothing ages a man faster than his hairline. Okay, and that can be gone immediately. I lost mine within the last 2 years, and I went from looking kind of like a pretty boy, I could pull girls, to I look 40 years old now myself over the course of a year. So you never know when that's going to happen to you. You got to act while you still have what few cards that you may have. And I try to offer solutions. A lot of them are like niche things, you know, liberate. My former friend would call it crack slipping. You know, that's what you have to do. You got to try and find whatever little lane you can, you know, put all your might into, and at least try, so you're not worried, or you're not thinking a decade, 2 decades later, man, I didn't even give it an effort. You know, at least if you try and fail, you can say that, you know, you did your best. Don't do it for society, don't do it for other people, do it for your own satisfaction. Do it so you don't have regrets for not trying, because time you'll never get back, man.
God damn it, my fucking phone's dying. I got all my notes in my phone. Fuck this gay shit. I hate technology. All right, I got one more for you guys. I want to talk about sowing seed, reaping harvest, life being unfair. Let's talk about sports ball as an example. You know, the NBA, they got some new contracts probably 10 years ago. So there was a and inflation with their kind of their dealings. Derrick Rose was one of the hottest commodities in the NBA in the mid 2000s, and he had resentment towards these newer kind of, you know, hot shots coming into the league. You know, they got big time money and he got kind of hosed out, but he was the most talked about guy in sports ball or whatever, right? And I'm just kind of curious what you guys think about, you know, the unfairness of life, that people kind of trailblaze and then others kind of maybe reap the rewards, and how that plays in our society for men, young men today compared to boomers. You know, they're that, you know, some guys, and I don't want to downplay like Derrick Rose. I'm sure he, you know, he had millions of dollars, but guys that were half as good as him, half as talked about as him, got twice as much money. So I'm just curious, Western Decline, I want you to go first, talking about this kind of sowing the seeds, reaping the harvest, and how life is unfair and that timing is sort of maybe important.
Yeah, you got to strike while the iron's hot, and that's true not just with employment or opportunities, but with women as well. A lot of the times, the fact that like women complain about how guys don't pick up on hints and all this other stuff. If you don't pick up on a woman's hint, it's better to pick up on hints that aren't there than it is to not pick up on hints that you're like wondering about, because nothing signals inexperience like not picking up on hints. And nothing turns women off like inexperience in a man. So fake it till you make it. It's better to strike more times, you know, within reason. Don't go getting yourself in trouble like I did, but don't miss opportunities when they're handed to you. And sports ball, I hate everything about it. And it's not because I was never good at it. Basketball I sucked at. Baseball I was actually pretty good, but I don't know how we ever arrived at a point with this society where the most important thing to everyone is an adult man's ability to play a child's sport. It's very backward to me.
Do you have anything to say about sowing seeds, reaping the harvest, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of examples where that's not fair. I mean, like I regularly watch like old sports from like the 80s and the 90s, and yeah, those guys that were, you know, way better, they, you know, made what, tons less money than guys, you know, who are less talented now and are putting a lot less butts in seats, and those guys are making a lot more money. It's not fair. And there's a lot of examples like that. I mean, as far as for myself, like if I was born in the 1950s, I think it's very likely I would have, you know, a wife and kids that would love me. And that doesn't happen today. You know, a lot of life is just, you know, timing and luck, you know, and, you know, it just is what it is, you know. I hate that I always say that.
You say timing and luck, Todd, and I know you're a little, you're experienced. You have wisdom compared to like a 16-year-old who's jerking it every day. Like, you know, maybe not as much as you do now. I mean, do you see your life as bad as you maybe portrayed it all these years on the internet?
No. I mean, I don't even think my life is like necessarily bad. I mean, I like really like compared to most guys my age, I think I'm like better off, you know.
Honestly, Todd, I agree with the kind of weirdos or whoever you want to, you know, listeners of your channel, whatever we want to call them. We can call them whatever. I hate to be like disparaging, but I think that you see the world, you're not deluded. And that's why I love you, man. Like your life is more respectable than a wage cage cuck. It is. I'm sorry. Like, I would rather be Todd than be like a 5 or a 6 driving a truck and like thinking he got love.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I agree with you on that. I mean, it's hard to avoid thinking about like what could be, you know, like you think about the wife and the kids and the white picket fence and all that. But the reality is that, very few men have that. Like, I don't know, what is it? Like, probably like 10% of men have that. And like, most of us are just not going to get that. And it's not reality. And like, I know from my years of wage slaving and coming home to an empty apartment, like, it's just for a lot of guys, it's just, it's not going to happen. And sadly, as time goes on, it's just getting harder and harder for men, and it's going to get harder and harder for men. And like the thing is, like with my life, I'm comfy. I have no financial concerns. I live in a nice area. I just live here in this apartment, and I have very little stress, as little stress as possible, and I like it. And if people look down on me for that, it is what it is.
What do you, Western Decline, what do you think about Todd's decision in his life and how he kind of operates and navigates through life? Do you see it as a, I don't know. I see it as, I hold it in high regard. Like, he's way ahead of the curve, and he's way above most of these idiots, these blue-pilled normies that think they're doing something with their lives.
Yeah, I mean, if women aren't putting out for you, why should you put in for them? And that's how I see his decision, and I respect it. I arrived at very similar conclusions myself. I've always been a minimalist. I was made to get by with very little money as a child, so I don't need to spend a lot to satisfy my boredom. I'd be happy to be in his position. And if you browse poll at all over the last couple of years, you've seen the argument between the no pussy, no work crowd and the wagies. And there's a reason that the wagies get so mad and they come out of the woodwork to attack people that have this sort of perspective, because they know that they're really not getting anything better for all their hard work. You have a guy that's getting probably about 80% of their income in most cases without doing very much. And aside from all the headache that they're experiencing trying to date and everything else, he doesn't even have to deal with that. He gets 100% of his time to himself to do with what he pleases. And it's not so much that they hate him, it's that they're more miserable than he is, and their misery wants more company. They want to drag his crab ass back into the bucket with them. So that's what the shaming techniques are, because that's all they can do. They're not going to go pound down his door, rip him out of his house, and make him go apply to work at McDick's. They got to just rage on the internet and go, he's not a real man, he's lazy, he's a leech. That's all they can do. Cry impotently before they go punch in for Mr. Shuckleberg tomorrow.
Absolutely. I've had so many people online, like people I never even communicate with. And it's like the second they hear that, like, I'm like a NEET and I'm an SSI and autism bucks, then they'll like give me all the life lessons and all the shit I should be doing. And it's like the first time they ever give a crap about me. So it's like, yeah, it's jealousy. Like they hate the job they have and the pointless lives they have. And sorry, I don't know.
Todd, I'm about wrapped up. I really appreciate your time, and I got a list of names, and I want both you guys to kind of just react to some of these names, and we'll get the hell out of here. All right, I'll put your YouTube channel in the description, Todd, and you as well, Western Decline. And I want to thank both of you for your time. I got a list of names. Todd, I want you to go first.
Okay.
And the first one is going to be Princess Diana.
Princess Diana. I don't really know much about her other than, but the paparazzi killed her. I don't know. I don't get the whole like British royal family stuff. It's all just stupid to me. So I don't know.
Western Decline, go ahead, bud.
I think in the case of the British royal family, a lot of the Brits obsess over it as a way to cope about not being like a world dominating empire anymore. They're like a fallen people. They get mocked for having bad cooking, bad teeth, and to cope with this, they instead focus, we have our royal family. We have these lords and lieges that, are
Isn't
a relic.
The British royal family
past.
Mostly German now? German ancestry? I think so.
I can't speak to that necessarily. But in the case of Diana, I don't know. I think it's kind of a sad story. I have more respect for Diana than I do for Meghan Markle. So
I was just going to ask, that was the next name, and I want Todd to go first. Meghan Markle.
Is that like the black one that's married to?
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I don't really know. I don't follow celebrity shit like at all. Whatever. Like the royal family, yeah, it's gay BS. Like I just don't really. I don't care. I don't understand why people care. Like what do they even do? I don't know.
I love you, Todd. Western Clay, you have anything to say about Meghan Markle?
I mean, Meghan Markle was probably the final nail in the coffin of the British royal family. Like it's hard to take things seriously at that point. She kind of ruined the illusion. It went from being this highfalutin, you know, upper crust noble society, and Meghan Markle being integrated into it turned it into an episode of the Kardashians. So I think that's the way a lot of people look at it now. They introduce this silly social drama, all the kind of issues that the relationships royal family used to have, like that was all kept out of public sight, or if it was brought into it, it was very hush hush. And instead, she parades around her Prince Harry like a fucking dog bitch, brings him on all these interviews, and like she obviously is wearing the pants. She's cracking the whip on that cracker, and it's obvious. So I don't know how you think they're royal or take it seriously after that.
All right, I want you to go first, Western Decline. I'm going to ask you about Redonkulous, Mr. Terrence Popp. Do you have an opinion of Terrence Popp? I'm not sure if I asked you about him.
He's okay. I'd put him into kind of the Aaron Clary category. Uh, Nothing too groundbreaking coming from him. Kind of the basic boomer like MGTOW red pill talking points. Kind of a funny guy. I wouldn't mind playing on like a softball league or something with him, but I'm not gonna tune into his videos every time one comes up for advice.
You have an opinion of Terrence Popp, Todd?
I have no idea who he is. Sorry.
All right, you're next, Todd. I'm going to ask you. I got a couple more names for you guys, and we'll get the fuck out of here. Larry King. Todd, do you have an opinion of Larry King? Divorced 10 times, I believe.
I don't really know much about him other than he just interviewed a bunch of people. I honestly don't really know anything about him. So,
You have an opinion, Western Decline?
I mean, he's obviously from an era that predates mine. I like his kind of aesthetic. He looks like this fucking just goblin ass creature here doing the interviews. His taste in women. He obviously likes his shiksas. I think he illustrates well what boomers did with their power. They accumulate
Didn't
money.
Howard Stern marry a couple of chicks, white women?
I think it's very common in the Jewish community to be very sick of Jewish women by the time you come of age, that you want to date outside your group.
All right, I got one more name. We'll get the fuck out of here. Todd, you can go first. Eminem.
the white rapper. I don't follow rap. I just think it's white. Whatever. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
You know what? Western Decline, I want you to maybe speak about Eminem quickly, and then I have one more thing I want to ask Todd before we get out of here.
Yeah, sure. I liked Eminem when I was a kid. I thought it was at the same time blacks were dominating white culture with rap. It felt kind of good to have a white guy that was like at
Can
least
I
on
interrupt you?
paper.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Before you go on about Eminem, I thought it was very odd as a millennial. I was a white person growing up in the Midwest, and the best golfer in the world was a hybrid Asian black, and the best rapper in the world was a white guy.
Yeah.
Everything was upside down as a millennial. The very best people at their craft were the opposite of their demographic. But anyway, continue, Western Decline. I hate to interrupt.
I was listening to one of Dashboard's streams, and he was talking about how white people actually invented rap in like the 1600s or something. It was and they did, like it was, they invented this like rhyming poetry, and it just didn't get popular again until it was given to blacks. But that's what I liked about Eminem initially was, he's the white guy, he's going to normalize this. But now I see Eminem as kind of like Miley Cyrus or one of these other pop culture figures foisted upon the white population in order to drag a large portion of their fans with them down into the gutter when they inevitably fall. Because Eminem was, he was counterculture. Eminem was almost kind of like a Donald Trump figure in the music industry where, they hated him, but they couldn't deny his talent. And what did he popularize? He popularized pretending to be a nig. He popularized abusing drugs, painkillers, everything else. And now he's turned heel. Now he's an establishment shill who raps about fuck Trump and everything else. So
last question for both you guys. Todd, I figure I'll have you go first. Was Donald Trump, was he struck by shrapnel or a bullet? Do you believe the current narrative in the media? Was there an assassination attempt on his life? Do you have any thoughts, opinions about that particular event at all?
Yeah, I'm suspicious. I mean, just the odds of a shooter just like nicking part of his ear. And you watch the people in the background, I tend to believe this is probably staged. I mean, I haven't done a lot of research on it, to be fair, but I am suspicious of it. I mean, all this, like, and you look at like the media after all this, it's just like, Teflon Don and all this like stupid shit. Like it seems like the media knows that he's gonna win. And now we're just kind of making like a good story out of this. I don't know. It's just what it seems like to me. But.
Western Decline, go ahead.
I'm in agreement. Completely scripted. At the same time that this was happening, you had J.D. Vance being selected as vice president. And J.D. Vance is the hardliner on Iran. He's, you can't have the kid gloves on with Iran. You got to bomb the shit out of them. And then the day after the alleged shooting on Donald Trump, you've got, news breaking that, the Secret Service talked about how Iran had been plotting assassination attempts. Like, Trump's going to drag everybody into war with Iran for Israel. That's what's going to happen. So they got to make it happen. Biden.
Have you seen the Way of the World? Posted the meme about Gavin Newsom and his family and JD Vance and his family and how the Democrats are quote unquote the real racist. Do you have anything to say to that, Western Klein?
I didn't see that post. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's just so fucking funny. You got fucking Gavin Newsom with his like 6 white children, and he's living out in California, highfalutin life. And then you got these fucking Republicans. They got the fucking that Rose woman, the slut prostitute at the RNC. They got JD Vance with his Indian wife. It's just a fucking meme now. The right wing is a fucking joke, and any fucking white guy, especially at Todd's level of socioeconomic status, if you're voting for the Republican Party, you're just a fucking retard. All right. Any final comments, guys? I wanted to maybe say something before we end the stream, but Western Decline, if you have a final thought, final comment, question for Todd, we'll get the fuck out of here.
No, just thanks for coming by, man. It was great talking to you. I'll do it anytime. But I understand you're not this shit taxes you, so I don't like getting taxed either, whether it's emotionally or monetarily. So I feel you.
Todd, do you have a final thought or question or comment?
No, I enjoyed it. It went well. I was kind of worried there'd be like too much political talk, and then like I can't really add anything. As you can see, like I have zero pop culture awareness, and I don't care about politics. So, yeah, but it went well. I enjoyed it. Thank you,
Todd. I just want to ask you a favor. I want to ask you a favor, and you don't have to. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but there's 100 people in my live chat and they want to see you on YouTube. They'd like to see you do regular uploads. Don't be afraid. You've got a fan base. People need you. You've got a niche in life. You're in a special space and you're a rock star. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Todd's a fucking awesome ass YouTuber. And I'd like you to do me a favor and my chat a favor and maybe regularly upload. once a month, once every couple weeks, once a week. I don't give a fuck how often it is. You need to maintain your YouTube. You need to maintain your presence on the internet. And I would ask you to, a favor for me is just maybe come back and hang out with me again in the future, if that's all right.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I never promise things. I do tend to spurg out and sometimes just go crazy. But yeah, I mean, I do plan on making more videos. And yeah, if you want me on again, sure. I mean, I don't know what we'll talk about. As you can see, I'm not very learned on a lot of topics here. But, sure. I'll join you again if you want. Yeah.
All right, guys. I would like you to sit with me just after we log off here, just for a brief minute. I want to thank both you, Todd, and Western Decline for joining me on the stream. I had a great time. I want to thank you for everybody in the chat for your comments. And I really enjoyed this chat, Todd. I think you're a really good YouTuber. I think you're an interesting guy. And don't listen to anybody. You do you, man. And if you want to fucking just get off the internet, fine. If you want to, upload, fine. Don't listen. Don't worry about what others say. And I'm a big supporter of you. And I think you're a great YouTuber. And I hope you keep uploading. And I'd like to have another chat with you and hang out with you on the internet again in the future, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. I'll be open to it. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. I am going to put Todd's YouTube channel in the description. I'm going to put Western Decline's YouTube channel in the description. I want to thank everybody for listening. And Todd, you're the man. I'm so happy that you were able to give us your time today. I know it was taxing, but, sometimes you just got to be around people, even if you don't like it.
Yep.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Good night.